Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be bringing you a super fun idea that I had a few days ago, and I've just been so excited to film this video. So this video is going to be a full face of throwback makeup products slash old school YouTube made me buy it products. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, but I was just looking through my collection and I also was really inspired by my Throwback Thursday eyeshadow tutorial videos. I figured why not do a full face of throwbacks, but more specifically products that were very popular on YouTube and that were all the rage back when YouTube first started. I want to say maybe like 2011, 2012 YouTube, when people were talking about naked palettes, a lot of MAC products. NYX was really big back in the day. So I just had this idea to do a full face of all of those like OG makeup products, and a lot of these were like YouTube but made me buy it products. So I really hope that you guys enjoy seeing this video, and I hope that this whole concept makes sense to you. I just thought it would be a fun video to film, and I have most of the stuff to do a full face in my collection. So I really hope that you guys enjoy, and let's just go ahead and get started. So I know that this isn't necessarily a huge throwback, but looking in my collection, this is the most OG thing that I could find, and this was definitely one of my favorites when I first started watching YouTube when I discovered this. So this is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water, so I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this. I definitely couldn't film this video without talking about a MAC paint pot. These were all the rage on YouTube. Everyone absolutely loved using these as their eye bases. I haven't used mine in a really long time. I specifically have mine in the shade Soft Ochre, but I remember being so obsessed with this. I would use this every single day under my eyeshadow. It is very reminiscent of a concealer texture, and I have switched to concealer since using this, but I probably should just switch back to this because it is very similar. So I already do have some concealer on my lids because I wasn't originally planning on filming this video. So I would say the one thing that really inspired this whole video idea was rediscovering this Lorac Pro To Go palette. Please tell me you guys remember this palette. The Lorac shadows were so popular back in the day, and this one is so cute. So you get these 6 eyeshadows, and then it also has 2 blushes and the bronzer. I remember using this palette so much and loving it. I remember I used this for my Sweet 16 makeup. I thought this palette was like so glam, so smoky and perfect. And my Sweet 16 makeup, looking back at it now, wasn't even that intense, but I thought my Sweet 16 makeup was absolutely everything when I first did it. So I'm probably not going to do anything too intricate in this palette, especially since there aren't a lot of color options. But of course, I'm just going to start off with this transition shade, which is the shade Chai. Lorac shadows are very, very pigmented, and I'm excited to see how these perform. In the pan, it looks like a medium, like mid-tone brownie shade. Do you guys see it? Almost like a camel, and it is so much more cool tone when it is actually applied to the lid. I think just to warm up this color, I'm actually gonna dip into the bronzer in this palette and just try to fluff that right on top, like closer to the edge, just to warm things up a little bit. Of course, I can't do this video without incorporating a naked palette, and these were probably the most popular makeup items, or one of the most popular makeup items that were out when I first started watching YouTube. Here is what the original naked palette looks like. This brings back so many memories. This is such a nostalgic palette, but I think I'm going to take the shade Buck, which is just like a classic, almost like an olivey brown transition shade, and I'm going to take this on a smaller brush and kind of concentrate this right inside the crease. And I also think I'm gonna take this same shade and pack this on my outer corner. Oh wow, that has a lot of fallout. The next shade that I want to go into for my eyes is actually in the Lorac Pro 2 palette, another old nostalgic palette. I'm just dipping into all of my older palettes today because I find it so fun to rediscover makeup. So this is going to be like a little bit more on the cool tone side. I remember I had so much fun with this palette. Looking back, when I first got this, I thought this was like so colorful and so beyond fun to play around with. So I think I'm gonna go in with the shade Rosé right here, which is a really pretty rose gold, and these are some really nice shimmer shades, but if I do remember correctly, I think that they do benefit from a little bit of spray. So I'm going to dip into this on a Morphe G15, and then I'm going to spray my brush with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. Ooh, this is pretty. So now I'm just going back into the shade Buck in the Naked palette and re-intensifying the outer corner shade and doing a little blending around the edges of the lid shade. And then I'm gonna go back into the Lorac Pro to Go and take the second lightest shade. This is the shade Shell. It's a little bit more of like a yellowy highlight shade on a Sigma E60 large shader, and just place this right underneath my brow bone to highlight that area. So off camera, I just went ahead and did my mascara. I didn't have an OG throwback type of mascara in my collection. If I were actually going out and buying products for this video, I probably would have bought like the Maybelline Great Lash or something like that. I feel like that is the mascara that comes to mind when I think of a throwback mascara, or maybe even like the Benefit They're Real probably would be a really great OG mascara as well. I went through a few tubes of it as well when I was a little bit younger, maybe like 13 or 14. So I think that's pretty much for the eyes. These eyes are reminding me a lot of what I would actually do back in the day. It's just so funny how like using these palettes, I instantly got a result of something that I used to do in the past. But for face primer, a throwback face primer that was so popular here on YouTube that I definitely bought because I was seeing it a lot on YouTube is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. This is such a classic. I believe my packaging is really old. Like they have come out with a few versions of this that look a little bit nicer than this one does. I have been working on this primer trying to use it up because it says that this is a 24-month expiration, and I've definitely had this for longer than 24 months. But this is just a really nice classic smoothing primer. I'm sure you guys have seen these before. They're really universal. I like to think that these are really nice for all skin types. For my throwback foundation today, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. Like I mentioned earlier about the mascara, if I was going out and actually purchasing products for the purpose of this video, I would have absolutely loved to purchase the Dream Matte Mousse foundation because I feel like everyone used that foundation. That foundation was so popular. I went through so many of them, and I think the best part about that is that everyone somehow got that foundation way too dark. It pulled really orange on a lot of people, but I feel like the Dream Matte Mousse was like the go-to OG foundation in the beauty community. But the closest thing that I have to that, like the next throwback that was also really popular here on YouTube, is the Matte and Poreless foundation. I have mine in the shade 120 Classic Ivory. I still do really like this. Definitely more, of course, on the matte and powdery side. If you guys like more of a matte look, you are going to really love this foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and use this on my e.l.f. sponge. Definitely not a throwback. This is actually really on the newer side, but this is just my current favorite sponge, and this is a really matte foundation. Definitely can tend to give a little bit even of like a powdery finish, so I figured using it with the damp sponge will like kind of sheer it out a little bit because I'm not really into the whole super matte look. I know a lot of people were into the very matte look back in the day, but that's not really what I'm going for recently, so hopefully this will kind of like give the foundation a little bit more life. A lot of my foundations are really light on me at the moment because I am a little bit tan. My tan is starting to fade, but hopefully this will get a little bit darker, or maybe I'll just have to put a lot of bronzer on. And I feel like the color looks a lot better in person. On camera, it's probably going to pull a little bit light because of the lighting that I'm using to film my videos, but in person, it actually doesn't look that far off from my neck and my chest. Wow, this foundation is so beautiful. I remember using this a few months ago when I did a full face using nothing new, and I remember really loving this and admiring the finish as well. But this looks so beautiful. It's definitely not 100% full coverage, but I feel like it just has the perfect amount of coverage for like day to day, but it looks so smooth, and I definitely contribute that to the mattifying aspect. Like, it looks so smoothing and perfecting on the skin. I'm definitely going to have to make it a point to use this foundation more because that looks beautiful. To conceal today, I'm going to use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. I feel like this is just so self-explanatory. It is just that much of a classic product. If you guys are not familiar with this concealer, it is definitely an oldie but a good concealer by Maybelline. It is their Dark Circle Treatment Concealer with Goji Berry. It does have that really different and unique sponge tip applicator, and you click up the product into the sponge. So I'm gonna use this today. I don't really remember how I feel about this concealer. I feel like I liked it, but I don't know why I remember this oxidizing pretty bad on me. I guess we will have to see. Upon initial application, this looks like it's gonna be pretty full coverage. It's really smooth and applying easily. There's definitely a lot of product caked up into my applicator though that probably could use to be like washed. It's probably not the most sanitary method of application, but back a few years ago on YouTube, when concealers and makeup products in general weren't very innovative, that was really different and a lot of people were drawn to it. So here's what the concealer is looking like. It actually has really beautiful coverage. It's actually prettier than I remember. Like I mentioned, I'm really curious to see if this is going to oxidize throughout the day. I definitely do see it darkening up, like especially right in the crevice of my eye right here. I remember that this did tend to get a little bit dark, so I'm not gonna apply anymore. I think I'm just going to leave it at one layer, but I am pretty impressed with how this is looking. It's really pretty, very lively underneath the eye. It's not heavy or overly dry, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm really curious to see, like I said, if it's going to oxidize or anything like that. This next product, I'm a little nervous to put on my face just because of how old this is. So this is the NYC Smooth Skin Bronzing Face Powder in Sunny. This is probably like the most classic of all of these makeup products. I know that this was so popular on YouTube. This used to be available at Target for like $2 or $3. It was such an inexpensive bronzer that a lot of people loved. This is a very like light, warm tone bronzer. So I'm curious to see how this is going to show up on my skin. And I'm gonna make sure to use a clean brush just to make sure that there is no other bronzer changing the colors. So let's go ahead and put this on. I know that this is really old, but I'm curious to see how this is going to perform, how it looks, because I remember, oh my god, what did I just do? Oh my god, this is like powdery. Okay, I think I fixed it. Anyway, I was saying, I just remembered this was like everyone's go-to bronzer. It's pretty. Definitely more on the warm side, but I kind of like it because I typically do go for more of a warm bronzer anyway. Like looking at my Anastasia bronzer in Rosewood, it does have more of like a reddish undertone. I really like the warm look to my bronzer. For blush, I think one of the most popular throwback blushes would be the NARS blushes. These are still really great. I know a lot of people still love and use them, but this was definitely one of those YouTube made me buy it products. YouTube really made me aware of the product, and this one is in the shade Deep Throat, which is their really famous like pinky shade. So I'm just going to apply this. These are really nice blushes. Ooh, that's really pigmented. It's really pink, this particular shade. Whoa! Holy blush, hold on. Ooh, that is really pink. I feel like a lot of blushes I'm used to, you kind of need to build them up, but this one was pigmented right off the bat. To highlight my face, a highlighter that was very, very popular on YouTube, but definitely an OG, are these Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Duos. These were so popular. I remember that when I went into Sephora to get these, they were almost sold out because so many people were so into these duos. I don't think that these are available anymore, but I do think you can get their highlighters and their bronzer separately in these exact shades. But these were so popular. This was also, I think I would want to say this is one of my first experiences with highlighters. And this one is in the shade 01, which is just like a beautiful champagne-y icy highlighter. This is just as beautiful as I remember. Comparing this to highlighters that I use now, I would say that the formula is just as intense. Like, highlighter was definitely becoming a thing quickly back in the day. I would just say the color might be a little bit light, a little bit more light and icy than I would typically go for, but the formula on these, you guys, I mean, look at it. It's just so good. If I remember correctly, I think the other shade that they made this in, 02, was a really beautiful gold shade, but I really loved these lighter icy highlighters when I was first getting into them. And the last and final thing that I want to do in this throwback tutorial is apply some lipstick, and I couldn't think of anything better than MAC lipsticks. I remember collecting MAC lipsticks. I remember having a MAC lipstick collection was just like the thing. It was one of my most favorite videos to watch, and I've loved collecting MAC lipsticks for a long time. This one in particular is in the shade Cream Cup, which is a cream sheen formula, and this was one of the most popular shades as well. Oh, she's pinky. Oh my gosh, this color. So here's the shade Cream Cup. I am getting so many like middle school, early high school throwbacks right now from wearing this lipstick. This obviously is not my best color. I actually think I'm gonna not take it all off. I'm just going to blot it a little bit because I want to go ahead and layer another one of my MAC lipsticks on top. This one I actually do really love, and this one is in the shade Faux, which is a satin. So this is just going to be like a little bit more of a deep mauve shade. Hopefully this looks better. All right, that's definitely a little bit better. I'm just gonna take a little bit of MAC lip liner in Boldly Bare to give my lips a little bit more of a shape. Alright you guys, so that is going to complete this look as well as this video. That is my full face of throwback makeup, my full face of OG YouTube made me buy it products. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing all of these products put to action. It was really a lot of fun to revisit a lot of these old favorites that I used to use a lot on my channel, that I used to watch so many people use here on YouTube. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy with how the look turned out. Looking at everything on the face, I think it looks good. I pretty much enjoyed everything. I'm not obsessed with the lip color. You guys know nowadays I go for something a little bit more peachy and warm. I would say that my skin is more matte than I typically go for, but of course it is the Matte and Poreless foundation, so I do expect that it's kind of cracking in my smile lines, and I'm just used to my skin looking a little bit more glowy nowadays. I also do think the concealer is like already getting dark. I don't know if you guys can see, but like I feel like it just looks dark, like right in there. That always happens to me when I've tried this concealer. So although it looks really pretty at first, that does tend to happen. It just like oxidizes right in the inner corner, which definitely isn't flattering. I would say a lot of things back in older YouTube, I guess you could say, really leaned a lot more cool tone. Like if you look at the Naked palettes, the Lorac palette, even like the really pinky blush and highlighter and the lip, everything is a little bit more cool tone, which you guys know I'm not 100% used to. Definitely let me know what products from old school YouTube you guys like the most. Which ones did you guys try out? Which ones you didn't like? Definitely let me know because I would love to know in the comments down below. Definitely also let me know what other full face videos you guys would like to see from me in the future, whether it's a brand or a type of makeup. I was thinking about trying a full face of maybe cream products because that's also really different for me, so definitely let me know if you guys would like to see that. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here as part of my little YouTube fam. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, click that notification bell down below and you'll get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys!